So moving to campus, we produce about enough waste on campus to fill the Demery building 3 times. So that's a lot, pretty substantial. We're doing pretty well in terms of universities in Canada, but that's also still a lot of waste. So not comparing ourselves to others, we still have a long way to go. And just to give you an example, every day there are nearly 7,000 disposable coffee cups purchased on campus. That's quite.
So why don't they ban those on campus?
Well, did you know that we have a bottled water ban?
No.
So disposable water bottles are, we've basically become a campus that we do not purchase, sell disposable water bottles on campus. And that was after years of lobbying by the SFUO and other student groups. And actually our office before I came on board. See, that's what I was afraid of happening if I took a bite to eat. So, I mean, that's a very good question. That's a project to work on for sure, and it would take some time because that would involve food services and all of those locations on campus. But it would be a good idea.
Well, what about, I know Tim Hortons cups can be composted. What if they make them all that sort of material? And
how about it's still waste?
Yeah, but
no, I mean, it's a really good question. Like we've got, have you guys seen the Van Hoot cups?
Yeah.
Those ones are compostable. And if you put a Tim Hortons cup through our composter off campus, it will disappear. Like it will compost. But generally, like at least from what I've been instructed, we usually tell people to put it in paper. Because it's not, like the materials are a little bit different than with the Van Hoot cups. But no, you're right. I mean, that's advocacy right there, right? That's actually working with food services and other groups on campus to make it happen.
I went to Carleton University, like I did my undergrad there, and I'm not sure exactly how long ago, but they had made a deal with Coca-Cola. They removed all of the water fountains out of campus, except for a couple in the old buildings, and had vending machines and sold bottled water. And it's just like in the last couple of years, they put in those smart water fountains that have like a sensor thing, so it counts how many bottles you save from a landfill. They just started putting those back in. Like, how could a university make that decision?
I know, it's pretty sad, isn't it? The corporations have so much sway. Yeah.
It was
so that's
embarrassing for Canadians.
That is, absolutely. And that's actually what makes me really proud of U Ottawa, that we're really progressive in this area. It's pretty amazing, actually. So, I mean, I think it's possible if we started a campaign with the disposable coffee cups, because that's one of the hugest things that get thrown out all the time. Like, because I'm looking in the bins and I see the contents, you know, and the way that things are recycled, and that's one of the key ones, absolutely.
I think it's also awareness, because a lot of people don't really know that these coffee cups can be composted.
Right, that's absolutely true.
It says Enviro something on. I just noticed Aaron's coffee cup this morning. It says Enviro something, but it's really small down at the bottom.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not something that people usually look for, like when they're drinking coffee, like that.
And then you have to sort it. You have to put it in the right bin, right?
Yeah.
So if you know the bin is 2 miles away, you're not going to go there.
Yeah, I was talking to Francine about that, saying it can be, there are different reasons why people do and don't recycle, and one of them could be not knowing. Another can be, you know what, it's too far away, I have to go to class and I don't want to. It's a convenience thing. It could be a safety thing, like in your, anyways, that's a whole other story, but,
there was I was in an apartment building and it was very dangerous to go to the back where they kept all the bins, because there were some homeless people waiting around there. And they'd get fairly upset when you were putting things, and they'd help you sort. It was just like a whole, so a lot of us didn't bother recycling anymore for that reason.
So we, in the year 2010, came up with a plan that we want to be a zero waste campus by the year 2020, which is really ambitious. But when you see the chart, you'll see that we actually are on the way to becoming a zero waste campus, because there are so many opportunities and so many ways that you can recycle different items that you cannot even comprehend. I mean, just walking into this job, there were a lot of things that I had no idea that this university recycles. It's quite amazing. So in order for that to happen, we all have to work together, and that's where you get these ideas like, well, what are we going to do about the disposable coffee cups, you know? And of course, we need to do some rethinking about our waste streams, what basically means like what is our waste, what is it made up of, and how can we reduce that? And obviously we're thinking the programs that we have. So you guys have seen all these signs on the recycling stations that when Brigitte, my predecessor, when she came into the job, actually worked with our design team to even consider what are the best colors, what are the best fonts and everything to use to make it the most simple and the most consistent across campus. So that's where that sort of signage came to be. So right now we've got about 135, I think it might even be more by now, recycling stations on campus, which is pretty good. There's always room for more though.
I've got a question about the plastic types.
Yeah.
It says all plastic types, but does that just include like number 1 through 7?
That is 1 through 7, or the 7
But
types,
there are
yeah.
some plastics that don't have the recycling symbol on them. Can you still recycle those as well?
Yeah, the thing is, our understanding of what can and can't be recycled, I need to review that with the company that we have a partnership with, because that all plastics type sign just went up 2 years ago. These other ones were there before. It used to be just metal, plastic, glass, which we still have in some areas, but there is only one company in Canada that recycles that much plastic. They recycle like all types of foams. But anyway, they just contacted me last week to say they weren't happy with the contents of the plastic, so we're gonna review what is and isn't recyclable. But right now, like, you know, I would put it in there, and I mean, I'm gonna have to do an education program with people afterwards to say like this is and this isn't. So if you have a plastic bag, yes. If you've got like any kinds of plastic containers, they can go in there. Styrofoam goes in there. If it looks plasticky, put it in. The problem with them is that they don't make as much money on certain types of plastics. Like there are certain types that are more valuable than others. That's the big thing.
And Tetra Packs, do they fit in plastics or papers? Like drinking boxes?
Oh, drinking boxes is plastics.
Okay.
Drinking boxes and milk containers is another one that people don't realize. I see that most often in paper or just in the garbage because people aren't sure, but there's that plastic coating over it, goes in plastics.
Okay, thank you.
There's a lot of things that have more than one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a picture of the public recycling stations. We recycle batteries, so in case you haven't seen on the sides of those recycling stations, there's a white bin, so you can stick your batteries in there. If you have an old computer or any sort of electronic device, that can be put on top of a recycling station. So just place it on top, and the maintenance staff will pick it up, unless it's like you've got a huge load or something, then you'd have to call 2222. And we also have a free store. Did you guys know about this?
No.
Wow. Okay. We have a store.
Like for free shirts and stuff?
It's okay. There's a store at 647 King Edward, very close by, that is a house owned by Physical Resources. You walk inside on the first, like in the living room, there it's all men's and women's clothes, and it's laid out like a store. There are old electronics. You go upstairs, all kinds of kitchen items, linens, stationery, and it's all free.
What?
That's so cool.
How do we never know about that? Let's go
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
It's like you're walking into a thrift shop, except you just take whatever you want.
Can you
And you
donate
can like
there
donate the
too?
stuff as
Yep,
well?
definitely.
What was
So
the
when you
address?
walk up to the store,
Is it on campus?
647 King Edward, like it looks like a normal house, like a 2-story house. So you walk and you go onto the front porch and you turn to your right. There's a big bin there where you can put stuff in, or just
King
put
Edward
it-
and what?
It's close to, I guess, fairly close to King Edward and Laurier. Yeah.
Oh my god, field trip.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you go onto the website, you'll see the hours. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10 to about 3 o'clock. So we've got volunteers that are there all the time. Yeah.
It's the best news ever.
I know, it's amazing to me, like when people, because a lot of students know about it when I ask them, they know about it, but some people don't. And actually the thing is, we don't really need to advertise because it's by word of mouth. Like as soon as you learn, like, there's free stuff,
Everybody
it's
has
just,
access.
yeah, there's no need for us to put up posters about that. We also have so our system of compost, we have a huge like industrial composter off campus at 200 Lees. So when you guys put your organics into one of those bins downstairs in the cafeteria at the UCU, or any other compost station on campus, all that gets collected and it goes into our big composter. We call him Oscar. So we compost about 100 tons of organics per year, which is pretty good. And
So
then that gets spread back on campus, fertilizer. Yeah.
So that's probably why they don't like those the cups in there, because they need to go in like the big citywide ones where the heat is just so insane. Whereas the Tim Hortons cups might not decompose.
Yeah, that could be. Oh no, but the thing is, like Brigitte, who I'm taking over for, said that like she did a test to see if I put a bunch of Tim Hortons cups in there, what happens? And when you look at the exit of it and all the soil that's an organic matter that's there, like you can't, when you sort through, there's nothing there, which means it is compostable.
Okay. It's just recommended that they're recycled instead.
Well, that's sort of the question that I don't have an answer for right now. Like I don't know why they were encouraging people to put it in paper if it is actually compostable.
Mm-hmm.
It could
But
be
that's
that,
something
but
I
if you have so many cups, then they're not gonna
Engineer.
compost.
Yeah, sure.
It might be,
Environmental engineer,
yeah.
sorry. If
It
there's
might-
too many cups versus the amount of organic matter, they're not gonna compost by the end, unless you give it extra time.
You know what I think that, and I think it's also the actual content of the cup. What is it made up of? Because when you look at a Van Hoot cup, it says it's compostable, which it probably means it was fabricated to be able to be compostable in a short period of time. Like I was saying at the beginning, the whole key factor here is time. Like, you're right, and also volume. If we get a lot of those Tim Hortons cups and the fabric of it is, whatever's made up of it is not compostable, it takes a while, then yeah, you're right, it's not gonna work very well. So that's most likely the reason why. We also have a vermicomposter, so we've got a composter that we've got little worms that eat up the matter to turn it into organics, and that's behind the yellow portable bilemma actually. So like just talking about what is left. So yes, we have all these programs, but what is the content of our waste now? Can you name something that is not recyclable or compostable?
On campus?
Yeah.
What, shiny newspaper flyer things. Aren't those, wasn't there a problem with those? Or maybe I just can't bring them. Am I thinking back to my country?
No, I think that can go in paper. I'm not 100% sure about that though. I'm actually gonna find that out. Yeah, because it has like a plasticky coating on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good question. Quite possible that it's not.
Saran wrap and stuff?
Saran wrap is in all plastics.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What about bags of chips and like that?
Oh,
That's a good one. That is not recyclable. And the reason why, so if you can think of any materials that are like hybrid materials, like it's fused plastic and aluminum. A granola bar is another example of that. It's usually made of either paper and metal or plastic and metal. So you've got one material on the one, and then you open it up, it's like another material that can never be recycled anywhere. Like imagine trying to, once you fuse two items together, like it's not going to be
Are drinking
recyclable.
boxes just like that though? I thought they had like.
They have a layer, yeah. So I don't know how the
Oh.
mechanics of how they take off that layer, but that part of it is recyclable. If you get like a juice container, like the frozen juice containers, so you've got the paper and then the metal on the bottom. You would put that in metal because, either that or you could just chop it off and like separate. But the metal is more valuable than the paper.